Today we're going to take a look at Amazon S3 buckets and protecting those buckets utilizing AWS KMS versus Vormetric transparent encryption cloud object storage S3 functionality. Here we have two S3 buckets that have both been intentionally set to public. One, which is protected by AWS's native KMS. As you can see, default encryption enabled with AWS KMS. And then over here, we have our VTE COS S3 test bucket, which is being protected by a guard point that resides on a CentOS 7.7 host. So let's go ahead and take a look at our files. Here, we have a file that will be encrypted by VTE COS S3 in a bucket that was made public. And then over here, we have our file that we intend on encrypting with AWS's native encryption. So let's go ahead and upload these files to their respective S3 buckets. All right, we've successfully uploaded a file to our S3 bucket that's being protected by the Thales Vormetric transparent encryption cloud object storage S3 functionality, as well as we've uploaded our test file into an S3 bucket that's being protected, again, by AWS's native KMS solution. Let's give our buckets a moment here to synchronize. All right. So as you can see, we have our two test files in their respective buckets. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at those files from the AWS console here. So our first file, we're going to go ahead and download that as. Go ahead and view this file in downloads. And when we open this particular file, as we can see, it's presented back to us in clear text and very readable. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our file that was encrypted by the Vormetric transparent encryption solution. And let's go ahead and do the same process. And this is that same file that was uploaded to our S3 bucket that was protected by the Vormetric transparent encryption solution with the enabled Cloud Object Storage S3 feature. As you can see, this file is encrypted and unreadable from a bucket that was intentionally, in this case, made public. But consider if a bucket were to be made public unintentionally, anyone who accessed data from said bucket would be presented with ciphertext. Whereas in leveraging and utilizing AWS's native KMS solution, if that bucket were intentionally or unintentionally made public, anyone who accesses data from that bucket would be able to read the content. And just to show you, over here, we're going to download that file via the CentOS 7.7 host that has the agent installed. With the agent being installed, we'll be able to read that file again on this particular host. All right, our file has been successfully downloaded, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at that file. As you can see from this particular host, we're able to read that file that we downloaded, unlike when I went through the AWS console here and downloaded that particular file onto my local host. And as you can see, I was unable to read that file. And this is all made possible by a simple agent that's installed on our, again, CentOS 7.7 host. And on this particular host, we have a guard point in place with an active policy. As you can see, our policy is very simple and straightforward. It's one rule that basically limits access to the AWS CLI. It allows all operations, so any reads or writes we're going to allow, as well as we're going to encrypt and decrypt based on whether it's a read or write. And for the purpose of this test, I enabled the audit effect to capture some logging. So let's take a look at our actual host, and just want to show you what the guard point looks like that's in place on that particular host. So as you can see, we have a guard point set to our VTE COS S3-test bucket that has that AWS policy in place. Again, one rule for the security rule, one rule under the key selection rule that has our associated encryption key to this policy. Again, just want to make it clear, the files are readable from only the CentOS.7 host because it has the Vormetric transparent encryption agent installed, and it has that Cloud Object Storage S3 functionality enabled. That's why when we uploaded the file here, the policy took care of the encryption, and that file was encrypted going from this CentOS 7.7 host to where it resided in the S3 bucket, and vice versa. When I downloaded that file, because the agent is present with an active policy, it was downloaded and I'm able to read that file. Again, just want to make it clear, unlike accessing the file through the AWS console and downloading it to my local machine where that file is unreadable because there is no Vormetric transparent encryption agent present on my machine, nor does it have the guard point or the policy. So there are a number of things that would be required in order for my local host to be able to read and view this encrypted file. But again, the purpose of this test was just to show that leveraging the Vormetric transparent encryption solution can give you an added level of protection in the event that a S3 bucket is made public. The difference being encrypted data is leaked out versus clear text data being leaked out. Thank you. Have a good day.